Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome back to another Brighter Shores live stream, starting quite a bit later today as I had a bunch of errands and stuff to run earlier today. As one of the main things I wanted to make sure is I had everything situated for the plane ticket. As I'm finally getting that later today, just had to do some stuff to the bank, figured I'd do some groceries, laundry, you know, all the other stuff. But we are finally here. We have been actually, I didn't think we'd have to use them all, but we actually used all 24 of those boost potions that we had on us earlier. We're on the final one right now. Gonna have to waste like 20 minutes of it, but that's fine. But of course, our main goal for today is, we are obviously at Jade Peace. So, unfortunately, since we won't have as much time, our one and only goal is to go do the Jade Monument. We'll just go and target farm it. We might do the 16 method. I'm not sure if we're going to do wide. We'll do a little bit of wide and do a little bit of 16. I think we're just going to do a 16 rush though, just to get it done. Shouldn't take more than 2 hours, and yeah, we should be good to go. And that is pretty much the game plan then. Go do that with some wide, maybe some target farming, and go get all the grind in that we need. And then later today, when we come back to passive, we'll be able to do this without needing a boost potion at all, as we should hopefully have 45 Forager by then, by the time we go and finish Jade, especially if we do it wide. So that's pretty much the main game plan. See if we can go and get to, well, for one, just complete out all Jades, and by later tonight also go and make sure we have 45 Forager. And if we are a little bit short, we could always use a +1 or +2 boost if we truly had to. Of course, since we haven't checked it yet today, and this is our first time we're logging in, we got ourselves the lobsters ready to go. So, of course, we got to go grab them. While I will not be doing any more fishing bounties now that we've done it quite a bit for the first several days. We are, of course, still doing the double venture. I might switch over to single venture once we have the double merchant venture going. However, we will still be, of course, touching these every single day. And with our 11%, be drinking in 11% every single time until we have better ones down at the later part of alchemy. But at this point, with our current schedule, it doesn't seem like we're going to be doing the alchemy grind until like September, or until they add bounties for whatever comes first. But hello, Tefek. Welcome, welcome. Hope all's been well. Hello, everyone else. Hello, everyone watching after the fact. Welcome, welcome. We had a little bit of a shorter stream. Got a lot busier today than I was originally expecting to get, but you know, still get the main grind we wanted to get done, which is Jade Monument today, and then of course Milestone 8 tomorrow. As far as our main goals, it has not changed. Just gonna have a little bit less time today. All right, let's go and put all this away, and yeah, let's go get our Jade pieces. Actually, you know what? We'll go do a little bit of a loop in it because we have 11% right now. We'll go and grab everything on our way there. We'll go and grab every single node, head over there, and then we'll start Jade cycling. Though I should probably head over there while we still have the 11% so we can get the first time bonus on it. Though not too big a deal if we don't. Just a little bit of extra XP when we do end up doing it. Which almost kind of makes me want to rush down there. Oh no, do I go for a weird loop and go head over there? I might. I can hit every single first time bonus we need right now, except for Bone Spike. So you know what, we're going to do that. Why not? It's already on our path as long as we get there within time, and we should, unless I keep grabbing every node like I am. We might be able to. Because we need to grab it on Hogberry, we need to go grab it on Limpet, we need to go grab it on Monument, Jade Piece. Might barely be able to make it. I'm gonna have to cut it a little wide though, or however you'd call that. Well, I say short, but whatever like crossing through that area would end up being considered. Is I gotta grab one over there, and then one over there, and we should be good. Can we do that within 30 seconds? I highly doubt it, but we'll go check. So I need to grab the closest Limpet, which is that the side one or the? I'm pretty sure it's the one on the ground. Going up that many steps probably makes that one a little bit further. So we'll grab this one, grab the Limpet, grab the Jade piece, store all this away. And we should be good to go. If I'm not mistaken, we need like 500 Jade pieces as far as how many we need for the monument here. Oh, are we not going to make it in time? Oh, no. Come on. You got this. You got this. Wait. Take the closer one. Take the closer one. Come on. Come on. Come on. Are we going to make it? Oh, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. No. It's not too big a deal. There we go. Just a little bit of XP in there. All right. We got most of them in. Bone Spike we can't get over there. And Bone Spike and Shark Jaw we do at the Bone Zone at the end. Man, anyways, let's start yeah, doing the loops. I guess we'll have a little bit less resources since we just took a few there, but we'll go and get what we need and go from there. Should probably go double check the monument just to double check how many we need. I think it's 500 if not mistaken, which is just shy of 2 hours if we do target method, or a little bit longer than that if we go really wide on it, which I'm not sure exactly what our game plan is on that. I somewhat want to end up getting it targeted just so we can get it done in a timely manner today, but I don't know, we'll see. And Eric, I think it's about 12,000 XP each, so that is not bad at all. Grab this one, grab that one. Honestly, yeah, I think we just go for target method. We go for target method and grab the 3s as we need for everything. The cycle is going to be a little bit weird just because we grabbed other stuff right at the beginning. But we should be able to grab 3 seashells, 3 limpets, and what was the other double? There's like a double of something that got grabbed as well. If nothing else, I think I can actually grab 6 starfish. I'm just not sure if they spawn quick enough. We'll see as we go how we want to end up doing this. Our first inventory is just going to be a little bit weird, though. But we are primarily just going to be Jade targeting. I'm going to go for side here and just grab the 1. Because I kind of don't want to grab the corner limpet there. It's probably not worth it overall. So grab you, grab you, grab you, grab you. Also, we're wasting the +5 boost potion. It hurts. Such a good boost potion. I'm going to be disappointed when we run out of those. The fact that you can only buy up to +2 is, you know, better than nothing. But, you know, +2 doesn't really do that much. Like, it's helpful, especially with the new layout of the game where you can actually use it and not need to worry about, like, the +4 knowledge point thing like before. But, I don't know. +2 just doesn't really get you that far, though, compared to the +5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think there's a +10 too all the way at the end, though you, of course, had pretty few of these when you do end up making them. But yeah, you do eventually have a +10 boost, which goes without saying is pretty solid. Yeah, it looks like they respawn, so I could just go for more starfish here. Not only are they better, well, they're not better XP, but they're better alchemy material compared to some of the other stuff we'd be getting, like the limpet. So yeah, it does look like I can do a double of the starfish, which what would that bring us down to at the end? I think I would still have 1 inventory space, right? Because I would have 4 limpets. I would grab, yeah, we're going to have a weird number. I basically need to figure out a way to add another limpet. I'm going to have to go for the side limpet or something. So this one's going to be weird just because we did it weirdly. But let's see what happens when we do it normally. Because I believe I can grab 4 limpet and 4 shell. And that combining that with 8 or 16 monument piece, or jade piece in this case. That should be a full inventory, right? That's how math works. 3 8s make a 24. Pretty sure that's how math works. So all you gotta do is grab double limpet and double shell and do that twice over each time. As they should spawn quick enough. So we never touch this limpet and we never touch the other shell, as they're a little bit too far away relative to our routing, as well as the fact that, yeah, we're just not gonna need them. We're already gonna have full inventory, so there's no reason to go for them. But also because they're slightly too far away. But yeah, this makes the gameplay loop really consistent. Definitely not the best XP loop we could be doing for this, but as far as jade pieces per hour while also getting good foraging XP, it's a nice mix. Like, this isn't the most jade pieces you can get per hour, nor is it the most XP you can get per hour, but it's a nice in-between of the two. We're prioritizing like half jade, half XP. Is of course the absolute jade method would be just, you know, do 888 jade and literally nothing else. And the XP method would be only like 6 to 8 jade and go like really wide on it and do a massive circle. Which would be great for XP, but way worse for jades by less than half per hour. So we're doing like an in-between. Where we're almost just prioritizing jade, but still grabbing some other stuff to offset XP, so it's not completely abysmal. As similar to stone, the XP rate of these things are not the greatest when taking only them. Though they are a little bit better overall than stone when it comes to synergy, as they do have a limpet that's only 2 levels below them, so they have really good synergy there. They're also surrounded by a billion nodes, whereas stone really isn't. The only thing you can really do with stone is combat synergy, or with the hair beast, not the hair beast, the ghouls, I mean. Or you can end up doing it with the hogberries, but the problem with the hogberries is you get the hogberries at level 37, but the stone pieces are at level 25, 12 levels beforehand. So it's nearly impossible to actually get synergy on it, unfortunately, since they are at two drastically different level ranges. And if we count it correctly, this should be a full inventory, and it looks like it is. So that's going to be our route then. We'll grab 4 limpets, 4 starfish, and a 2-2 method, while grabbing 8 jade piece. And we'll just keep doing that until the monument is completed. And we can do potion math as well to figure out about how many we'll need. Because I believe we needed about 500. We're gaining 16 per potion, which I'm not even drinking. I should probably start drinking them so we can do potion math. But let's see, what does our potion math come out to then? So I'm going to need to do, if it's 16 each, and we need about, oh no, let's say 450 more. I say 460 just to play it safe. 460 divided by 16, 29. So when my potions say 430, if I remember to drink one every time, I need to start remembering. Oh wait, but 2 of those, oh wait, how many knowledges are that gonna be though? We can check at 435. I don't think we'll be done at 435 potions, but we'll check at that. I think that's a good in-between. We shouldn't have all the pieces by then, but we'd be a very small amount away to know, like, hey, this is exactly how many we need. So our potion math for today is 435. When we have 435%, we should have almost all the jade pieces. I think we'll be like 2 inventory short. But we'll go check then. So we'll end up doing it based on that then. It's probably not going to be all of them, but it'll be very, very, very close to all of them. We'll just use potions to keep track of it then, as we've been doing for quite a few things lately. We had a game plan. But yeah, today has been really busy for me so far. It's one of the reasons the stream is starting like 4.5 hours later than it normally does. I did get so much done today though. The only thing I didn't quite do yet is buy the actual ticket, but I found the one I'm likely getting. Hopefully it didn't go up within one day. I was just trying to finalize all the dates to make sure I have rides and everything else for it, so I don't have to pay for a taxi or something. Just want to make sure I have everything situated. I was also looking up a bunch of laws related to it just to make sure everything's in check. Because the trip, assuming I'm going for this one, it seems like it's 86 days. Which is like just below the maximum you can do of 90 days. Which will definitely be my longest trip ever. Like by a large margin. I think my longest trip prior to this was like 2 weeks to somewheres. And that was within the United States. It wasn't even like a different country. But yeah, 86 days is how long the trip is going to be. Which means 86 days of no content on the channel, unfortunately. Because I'm pretty sure I'm not pre-recording for that long. I have sometimes when I've gone on away for a little bit. But there's no way I'm pre-recording 86 days worth of content. That is just not possible. That would take like a month, if not longer, to pre-record that much content. Plus a lot of things I can't. Because a lot of the content I've been doing lately is like updates for various games. Like, you know, Brighter Shores, stuff like that when we do the Brighter Shores stream, everything else like that. But, as well as for the few other games we do it for. But, yeah, obviously, I can't, like, pre-record an update that's happening in, like, 2 months. That would be kind of impossible. So there will be about a 3-week period. It's from late May to mid-August. We will be gone. And then the YouTube algorithm will forget about us. Hopefully they'll remember once we come back, though. It's going to be a 3 months total eclipse on the channel. Which I think the longest prior was 3 weeks. When I got snowed in to when I was seeing family one time. I think it's the longest we've ever gone not covering content on YouTube. In the almost decade we've been doing it now. Because this year is the 9th? 8th? One of them together. It's like the 8th or 9th year of us doing YouTube overall. And in that time, the longest we've ever been away was 3 weeks because I got snowed in. It was like a 1.5 week family trip, but got snowed in the area, so it lasted almost like 3 weeks. So this would be larger than that by like 3 times, if not longer, almost 4 times longer. And I'm curious what will happen with YouTube algorithm in that regard. We'll definitely need to cover some like actual proper videos around that time, so YouTube algorithm remembers we exist. Like around that time, we'll need to drop some kind of Brighter Shores guide on something. As well as like the Gems of War thing or whatever else we end up doing. Just to remind YouTube that we exist again. Because just randomly doing a stream wouldn't be enough. Gotta do something bigger that the YouTube algorithm will actually push a little. And by then, who knows? Maybe we'll be making a dungeon video on Brighter Shores. Because, they're probably going to release dungeons while I'm gone. I'm hoping that they don't. This is like one of the few times I'm hoping that their launch schedule is really slow. I am really hoping they don't launch dungeons while I'm gone this summer. Fingers crossed. It's like the one and only time I want them to not release content. Because I know they're going to. It'll literally get announced like the day I leave. For like a month after. While I'll still be gone. Like the last week of May, they're going to announce dungeons are coming in like a month. Or do the beta for the dungeons. Like we're going to miss the whole process for it. I don't know, we'll find out though. But if we are gone for it, you know, we'll just cover it heavily when it comes back. Though I probably would, prior to us doing anything, already have been doing some dungeons. Because I'll still be able to play some while I'm gone, just not like a lot. There's a lot of days I'll be busy. But, you know, we'll still be keeping up with dailies and all that, if nothing else, like we have been for the last, like, 10 months. Prior to us doing, like, the stream every single day, like, for this Monument grind like we have been doing recently. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this trip. Pretty much everything's sorted now. As soon as I confirm the tickets tonight, every single thing for the trip is pretty much done. All I'd have to do is get like a bag and one of those like adapter thingies. Because America has really weird ports compared to the rest of the world. And all of my ports are, you know, the American version, not the European version or whatever you'd call the other ones. Because the American ones look like the face, where it has like, you know, those two little thingies and then one thing at the bottom. But Europe has like a double pole thing that goes in. It's quite a bit different. I need an adapter for that. Probably even 2 of them, just in case. One starts getting faulty or something. I've never actually ever in my life used a plug like that, because I've never lived in an area that had plugs like that. Because even in Canada, they still had, like, normal plugs. And by normal, I mean, like, American, like, plugs. They didn't have, like, the European ones. Or at least not at the place I was staying at. Not sure if it's, like, mixed matched in that country or not. But at least the building I was staying at when I was there, they had, like, American plugs, not the European ones. So this will be the first time I'm traveling somewhere that has the non-American plug thing. Which I've heard is safer, though I've never actually used one before. Obviously, it's pretty straightforward. You just plug something in and you're good to go. It's not like they function any differently other than how they discharge electricity. I gotta remember to drink an 11% here. I should also probably click on the 2. I almost keep forgetting to click on these because they spawn later, so I can't, like, pre-click on them. Also, that one guy's still standing right in front of it, too. Good old hydration. Also, I remember today I grabbed the double water. Actually, one of the waters was from when I was still having pizza earlier. The household ended up ordering pizza today. So I was like, yeah, I'll just go for some. End up just getting at Domino's. Which ever since they've had those specialty pizzas have honestly not been that bad. Domino's has always been kind of like towards the more mid-size size of things, but I don't know, their more recent specialty pizzas actually kind of good. At least relative to the price. Like, you could definitely get better pizza than that. But relative to price, it's pretty good. So 2.5 levels to go, though if we don't get 2.5 levels a stream, which there's a good chance we might not, as my only real goal at this point is just to get Jade done, since we didn't have as much time. But hopefully we can get pretty close to 45, because the closer we get to 45, the less money I gotta burn tonight. Or later today. Because it really comes down to if we need to use a +2 boost, a +1 boost, or no boost at all. Ideally we need no boost at all, which would be level 45, but if we had to use +2 or +1, it's not too big a deal. We're just gonna burn an extra, like, 100, 200 silver. Like, ideally, we wouldn't want to do that, but, you know, 100, 200 silver is not, like, really anything. If we had to do that because of lack of time, it's not that big a deal. I wish the shop sold a little bit higher tiers, though. It's something I'm still hoping for Stonewall Hill is, you know, you can upgrade the shops by doing the builder skill and, you know, get better tier stuff. Because I really hope you can eventually buy to, like, tier 3, 4, 5 potions. There'd be a couple potions that would be really useful to buy at that level range. Some of them would be the boost potions. But one of the other pretty noteworthy ones is the luck potion. You actually cannot buy luck potions at the moment from the shop, because they are a tier 2 potion and the shops only sell to tier 1. This would be a great way to stock up on luck if you don't want to make them yourself. Because currently, if you want luck potions, you have to make them yourself if you're playing on an Iron Man or on a Lone Wolf. As there's no shop that sells them, not even the lowest tier 1. So if you want them, you have to make them. Whereas, of course, anyone who is trading enabled, you can just trade for them. But all other accounts, yeah, you gotta make them if you want any. There's no shop that sells them at the moment. Not to say there wouldn't be one eventually, but in the current state of the game, there's none that does. And I'm really hoping that Chapter 5 does go down like the inverse of Chapter 4, where instead of getting discounts, you get higher tier shops as you build them up. I'm really hoping for that mechanic for Chapter 5. Because I can't really think of any other chapter that they might try putting a shopping district into in the near future. As we somewhat know the theme of Chapter 6 to some degree, and it doesn't seem like it'd be one where you'd put shoppings. Like, there wouldn't be, like, a, you know, shopping district in there. Whereas Chapter 5 definitely could, technically, have, like, a dwarven shopping area. Where you build it up with builder skill. Because if anything, one shop upgrade that is pretty likely, even if you're not building it up with builder from that chapter, is potentially a better armorer. Since it's a chapter where armor maker is, and it's a bunch of dwarves that are kind of known for making stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a shop that sells epics for like an arm and a leg. Because right now, if I wanted to buy 2-star equipment, I think it's like 1 gold piece a piece. But who knows, maybe there'll be a shop there where you could buy up to tier 3 that sells them for like 3 to 5 gold each. Which would be so expensive and almost never worth it. But if you wanted to save the time and you were just really loaded, I think a 3-star could be worth like 3 to 5 gold. Especially if it has a good roll. Like if it has like an, you know, 89% or something, or you know, something really high. Because it might sound expensive, but actually I'm not sure what the current trading market even is for people that have trading enabled. But 89% or, you know, max roll percent tools, or weapons more so, should have pretty good value. Like anything that's in the top 2%. Like this bow, for example, is in the second highest number. It could be 48% or 49%, 49 being highest. In the case of our weapon right now, 88% and 89% would be the best too. Because I assume stuff like that would trade a lot higher than anything else. Or, you know, from a player-to-player economy. As anything that has max roll is pretty important for speeding things up. The only problem is you cycle through weapons so much right now that I guess they wouldn't hold too much value. But it would matter once we have more item permanence in the game. Assuming we ever have more item permanence in the game. I assume we eventually would, though. Or the ability to keep enhancing stuff upwards so you don't have to keep making stuff from scratch. Because the lifespan of an average weapon or armor piece in this game is not that long. At least from a leveling up perspective. Like if you were actively training combat, an average piece of equipment at most level ranges will only last you like a few days. Like 20-ish hours, 30-ish hours. Not because it degrades, but because, you know, you would eventually not need it anymore. You'd be outside of a level range where it's viable. Oh, our boost potion is about to expire. Oh no! The purchase plus 5 boost. I'm actually really surprised I used all of them. I grabbed the 24 earlier thinking like, oh yeah, I'm not going to need to use that many. Or the 20, however many I grabbed, I can't remember. And here we are the following day. It's like, whoops, I used literally all of them. I still have like 120 banked or so. But 120 needs to last us for like every skill, and we're going to use like almost half of them just on Forager. I don't mind though, just to speed it up. It's not like there's not other boost potions in the game. You can infinitely buy plus 2s. Even though we have a limited supply of plus 5 and higher. If we truly had to ever fall back on plus 2s, you know, we got something more than nothing. There's nowhere near as good, but, you know, they still help. Is this one of the other level ranges where using a boost potion is really good? Before it was whenever you went from before 200 to a post 200 activity. But now it's every single time you move up a tier. So if we were to use a plus 2 to AFK, like for example, Sea Slug for example. While Sea Slug as a material is really bad, the amount of EXP that we'd get extra from there is stronger than if we used a 14% AFK potion at the previous level range. It is that much of a jump. That's where the main area where you'd really want to use boost if you're not using it for a specific material like we have been. Because whenever you can do it to skip a tier, or, you know, skip up to the next tier, the XP rate is just so much better. More than any XP pot can even do in the game. Because that jump at that level range, for example, is something like 40% more XP or something? Like 30-40%. Way more than the highest bonus of 14%. Just from going from one activity to the higher one. But at every single level bracket, it's like that. Just at level 8 and 9 is where it's the biggest amount of benefit. Now, how's our potion stack doing? We said at 35 we'd go check. But I feel like I'm forgetting to use my potion occasionally. And we did the math on the knowledge points as well earlier. It's kind of unfortunate. We need 17 knowledge points at this current level range to get a level. That is more than you needed in the previous format of the game at this level range. So from what I can tell, everything milestone 6 and lower, or at least from milestone 4 to 6, is quicker in the current state of game. However, everything from milestone 7 to 9 seems like it's a little bit slower. Like 7's about the same and 8 and 9 are slower. Which is not ideal, because that means the last 100 levels of every single skill is way slower than the previous format. There is an upside of that, you do get a lot more good material that way. But of course the downside of, with the way that we are level distributed, that's going to slow us down a bit for, you know, maxing. As the hardest levels are the final 100. Whereas before, 400 to 500 were just as easy as 200 to 300. They would have both taken about the same amount of time. But that is not the case anymore. The final 100 is substantially longer than the first 100 from 200 to 300 like it was before. Way, way longer. With the biggest upside, of course, being that you get a ton of high-grade material that you would obviously need. So all the material that you're grabbing at that level range is really important. Which is the big upside of it. Assuming you're banking and not just dropping it. And it's the two main level ranges where if you weren't already banking everything, you would definitely want to start banking everything. Tier 8 and 9. I could definitely see the argument, especially if you're loaded, to drop literally every resource ever prior to milestone 8. But milestone 8 and 9 are really important to bank for every skill. As the costs associated to them start to get really high, that it's worth just going to the bank and wasting some XP time. For what's basically the best in slot material in the game. There's a lot of tier 8 stuff is pretty much just as good as tier 9 for most skills. There's a little bit of a disparity, but, you know, if you had to settle for only tier 8 potions instead of tier 9, like, you're not losing out on much. Especially if you're buying the secondary ingredient. Because in those cases, it might be more cost efficient just to run the tier 8 rather than even run the tier 9. You might be missing like 2% bonus on like a healing pot or whatever, but you'd probably be saving like 3 silver for that 2%. Starts adding up pretty quickly when you're doing, you know, thousands of them. Like a few silver doesn't sound like much, but you add a 10,000 near the end of it and you're just talking 30 gold right there. It starts to add up really quick. Only problem with this set is that there's not as many opportunities to drink water. Trying to stay hydrated here. It's not like the other set that we were doing yesterday where we can kind of just grab everything in the room. Even this room on our second set back, I can't grab the starfish immediately because they haven't spawned yet. Alright, one water down. Backup water time. Oh, this one's not cold though. I grabbed this one earlier. Before I went out earlier in the day. Still good though. Water's water. And we're coming close to our first level of the stream. So worst comes to worst, we will be able to buy a boost potion for tonight. It really just comes down to, will we need a +1 or a +0? Actually, I haven't actually used the +1 boost potions yet from the shop. Ever since they're usable on every skill, unlike before. They're decently cheap. But they still run a bit of a penny going up. Like, if you do it for 10 hours, I think it's like 160 silver. Which is not a lot, but compared to 0, it's like infinitely more. But if we truly had to, 160 silver is not that bad. It's cheaper than buying how much scrap metal we'd get. Because we're getting like 40, 50, 60 silver worth of scrap metal per hour. I forget what's that at tier 7. I think it's like 40 something if we were to buy it. So it might sound somewhat expensive if we keep doing like 20-ish silver, give or take a little bit per hour. But we're using it to get a material that is giving us, you know, if we were to have bought it, like 40 something silver. Which I can go check it right now. Like, for example, if you were to do the +2 boost potion, which is more expensive, it would cost you 28 silver per hour. But, of course, we would be getting a material that is worth, if we were to buy it, 50 silver. So, we're still technically profiting silver. It's just not as much compared to, obviously, if we just had the level for it. But we're still profiting from it. It's not like we're going in the red. We're actively making positive money. It's just less money than if we didn't need to use the boost potion. Which would be ideal, but you know, if we don't have the time for it, it's not that big a deal to go run it. That's why I don't feel bad using the +1 or +2 boost where applicable. As you're still making profit, it's just not as much profit. As long as you're getting a material that you actually need and you're not just going to sell, it's always worth it. So if we can ever use it to skip like a useless material like sheep rib or worms here or the beetles here, anytime we can use a boost potion to skip that kind of stuff for Forager or for any skill, we'd want to. As it's definitely worth the cost of using a small boost potion to skip a resource that you otherwise would just sell to a shop. As it's better to gather something that you actually need, that you basically get full shop value from, rather than do something that you're just going to sell to the shop at some point and just lose all that value. Because even though you have to pay for the boost potion, you're still technically profiting more. Plus, in every case, you'd also be getting a better XP rate. Not by much, but you'd be getting better material and a better XP rate, so it's worth it. But I think whenever we do Jade, this is going to be the main loop we do. It's definitely not the best loop you could be doing this for XP, but I like this loop just because it's a nice in-between of Jade pieces per hour and XP per hour. It's also a good excuse to finally grab some limpets in case we ever want some yellow potion in case they're not useless. Like we get some kind of cool lightning yellow mace attack or something. Or axes do something cool when they have special attacks. Because otherwise I have no use for yellow potions at the moment, but you know, if they do eventually have a use, we'll have some banked. I'll be missing the hog berries, but you know, we can just buy those if we truly need them. Only problem is they're the last potion at the set. So from an XP perspective, it might be kind of okay to have a few handful of these, but that will be fine. We'll be making so much of the blue potion that will make up for it. Which one gives more XP? Let me see. Hello, Jets. Welcome, welcome. I've also been well. That one gives 11,500. This one gives... yeah, it does give more. Not by much, though. It's not like crazy more. But yeah, the yellow one is a little bit more XP per hour. It's also a lot more annoying to source the ingredients for, compared to how easy Starfish is. Not to mention Starfish is the potion we actually need. The other one is just like, maybe we'll need it for special attacks, and that's about it. These blue potions, we know how good they can be now. And we know how bad yellow potions can be now. We don't know what their value will be in the future, but, you know, they'll likely probably stay pretty consistent, where on the, you know, the blue class of Cryo you'll probably mostly be using blue potions, even once you have special attacks and everything. Like, unless a boss or something specifically weak to an element. We will still, when doing generic enemy damage to an enemy, always want the blue potion. That's why we've been prioritizing the Starfish for the most part. And the XP route for it's just really nice. Even if you weren't Crown Knight, you'd still be doing it. We just got kind of lucky that Crown Knight gets good synergy on it. Because at this current moment in time, Crown Knight not only has the cheapest combat potions, whereas before it had the middle price ones, and Guardian had the cheapest, but now it has the cheapest. But it's also the easiest to route, which is one of the reasons why it's the cheapest. is by far of the 3 combat boost potions, the primary color ones, the easiest one to make. Just because the best forager HP route already does it forever. By the time we reach max forager, we'd have over 20,000 starfish across, you know, all the tiers. Maybe even closer to 30,000. Whereas our limpet stack for the yellow ones is going to be like maybe a few thousand at best. Compared to upwards of 20,000 starfish, if not more. Alright, next set, I think we still do a 5%. But the one after that, we're going to need the Juicy 11. And based on potion math, we got to drink 15 more 5%. And then we'll go check the monument progress. That shouldn't be full completion, but it should be pretty close. And we'll check where our number is there. Which at this rate, that should take a little over half an hour then. Which isn't really that quick. We've only been going for about half an hour. I guess it is that quick, isn't it? It's not like the monument number jumped that high at tier 7. I think the previous tier we had to get like 420 or 450, and now we had to do 500-ish. I think it was 500 on the dot or somewhere around there. So yeah, not that bad at all. We'll see how bad the tier 8 jump is though. Because I believe our stone pieces were at 450. This was the number we were talking about the other day that we're going to need to remember. As I'm somewhat forgetting what it was. I believe it was 450. It definitely wasn't over 500. So we'll get to see how big of a jump the tier 8 does. Because I have a feeling it's going to be almost over 1,000, if not over 1,000. Which will really give us a good idea of how long the grind's going to be for next tier. Because the higher the number, like basically the difference of that number compared to the number we had, is going to tell us about how much harder tier 8 is. It's similar from the tier 8 number to the tier 9 number. So this will give us a good idea of what grind we're in for when we do get to next tier. Because I do have a feeling it's going to jump from like 450, 500-ish to 1,000. If not higher. Definitely at least like 800. And then final piece will definitely easily require over 1,000. Which is a lot, but compared to the previous format of the game, I'm pretty sure the final tier needed like 4,000 something. Whereas now final tier is going to be closer to, you know, like 1,000-ish. Maybe 2,000-ish at best. Oh yeah, that's something else I need to go do too. Let's talk about the trip thing earlier. One thing I need to go check before I go, probably in the upcoming weeks, even though the trip's still not a couple months away. But I need to see if my cellular plan even works in other countries, and that it won't bill me like $1 billion. Because I've actually checked. I think it does. I just want to make sure there's no like hidden fees or anything else on it. Because I ended up switching to some kind of family plan the other year. But in doing so, I didn't really look at every single specific of the program. Because the last time I went outside the country, it was Canada. So, you know, generally most United States services still work up there because it's close enough. But going overseas is quite a bit of a further location. 11% time. Oh, come on, you couldn't just give us a level? Okay, we'll get it on this trip. How did that not get us a level? How short are we right now? We're less than 100,000 away. We're less than 50,000 away. I can't believe it gypped us like that. We're gonna have it before we even leave this room. And the next most important unlock is at level 45. We could do scrap metal without needing a passive potion. So 2 more levels. There it is. Let's get Femur. But I really won't be doing Femur until we get all the way into the Bone Zone. Which is our game plan for tomorrow, by the way. The main goal for tomorrow, we might go for a little bit of stretch goal if we want to grab some pondweed on stream or whatever. But our main goal for tomorrow is tier 8, of course. And we'll do the Bone Zone from whatever we're at till 8. If we go for stretch goal, I'll do some pondweed then. Because that pondweed is probably the most important pondweed we're ever going to take. It is tier 8 pondweed. And the reason we care about tier 8 pondweed is it's the 9-minute AFK potion. The 9-minute AFK potion is actually stronger than the 10-minute one at max level. The main reason for this is the ground timer is a 10-minute ground timer. So the AFK potion that goes for 10 minutes, you're normally going to waste like your first drop if you mega AFK it. But the 9-minute one is the longest potion you can do that would safely not despawn any of your items you get while doing combat. So even though it's 1 minute shorter duration, in the current ground timer of the game, it is technically stronger. So out of anything that we get for tier 8 is actually the most important one out of any material we get for all of tier 8. So we're going to be doing a lot of pondweed and bell plant at the beginning. More than we would even at tier 9 or any tier prior. As it's the tier where pondweed and bell plant matter the most. I'm looking at the wrong tier, but this one right here is where it is. Is there anything else that's kind of relevant in this tier? I guess wall plant for 50%. I can probably get synergy on it on the final tier too. But no, as far as any that are actually stronger at this tier, it's only Enrage. But a lot of them are still really strong, obviously, at this point. Like a plus 95 compared to 100 is still really strong. A 13% compared to a 14% is still really strong. But yeah, the Enrage is the only one that's actually, like, actively stronger. At tier 8 rather than tier 9. So pretty much the entirety of the beginning of tier 8 is literally just going to be pondweed and bell plant. I might even skip over wall plant almost entirely. And just do them all the way to, like, level 15. Just because whatever Enrage I grab there is going to be mostly Enrage we're going to have forever. Because I'm grabbing very minimal Enrage tier 9. And we're still grabbing some, but like pretty much the bare minimum. So we can grab more healing pots immediately. Because we can start grabbing supplies for healing pots at tier 5 if we really want to. I mean at level 5 forge for the final tier. And then grab the other piece at 7 and combine it with combat. So we're going to really heavily end up skipping these. Or skipping that Enrage, I mean. Not all those potions. We need all those potions, but the Enrage one is the main one that we're skipping there. Because we're making up for it with tier 8s. Of course, they could do something to change that, but at least in the current balance of the game, the tier 8 Enrage is better than tier 9. And we will grind, assuming they're not changing that. But of course, they could easily change that. But we're going to make the bold assumption that they're not going to change it. Because I sent a support ticket mentioning that problem, and they didn't change it. So I assume they won't. It's also one of the only few times I've ever messaged them that they actually acknowledge the message. So far, I've had a 2/3 like fail rate of me sending them messages that just never get answered. The most recent one being the gold that we lost from the one conversion thing that happened the other week. Still no reply on that. I almost want to go send it again, but pretty sure it'll just get ignored. Not the way I wanted to go, but sure. Not sure how many tiles that wastes. I think it's only like 1 tile worse. If you walk all the way around this way rather than the other way. Alright, we are currently, what, 5% away. Well, likely you drink 11% in between there. But we're 5% away from checking Monument. Let's see how many more pieces we need. And that should bring us to level 44. Which means I'll need a +1 boost potion, which we need to go buy. Just so we can save money on the +2s. Though, soon I'm going to run out of scrap metal I can run. But luckily tomorrow's goal is to go get tier 8, so we'll be fine then. Because after tonight, I can't really run scrap metal anymore. We would have pretty much depleted the 2x bonus. Since we did it early, but also doing it now. Or later tonight. What's kind of funny, though, is you can actually completely deplete something's 2x bonus before you even have access to the activity. Because if you used big enough boost potions, you could fully deplete an activity before you ever get the level to be able to do it. Which is kind of funny, but it is possible. That'd be very unlikely, though, because you would need a lot of, like, hefty XP pots already pre-made. But it definitely could accidentally happen. Because we're almost there on scrap metal. If we weren't actively playing right now and we just kept AFKing it from the +5 and then into the +2s, we would actually deplete all of scrap metal before we had the level to do scrap metal. Just because we boosted for it. Which means we'd eventually get the unlock and not be able to do it because we already did it. I do wish they would have extended the 2x amount for all of them just a little bit more, though. I feel like they're a little bit too short. Because obviously once that 2x dries out, it's pretty much never worth doing the passive. Unless you have, like, literally every skill maxed and you're just doing it for the supply on, like, alchemy or something. But otherwise, as soon as that 2x is up, you are basically done ever doing that passive at that level range. Obviously, you'll get another one on the next tier, and this is the final level. But otherwise, you're kind of, it's kind of not worth doing it. I guess maybe in the trading economy it may be. If you had trading enabled, there's probably a couple alchemy potions that might be worth making. Where the cost to make it relative to how useful the potion is probably pretty good. I assume one of the boost potions are like that, like a +4, +5, +6 boost potion. Might be at a really nice sweet spot. Where it's worth mass making them and then selling them. Because I can't really think of any other potion that'd be more worth than them. Other than maybe the wealth potions. Since they convert directly into money. So they always have a pretty static amount of value. Which reminds me, how much... It's one of the weirdest things about combat. Is the active bonus for combat is actually insanely good compared to any other skill. It takes forever for passives to start catching up. Like, what's the exact level range where it meets? Yeah, you gotta get to milestone 28 combat for passives to be even marginally better than active. When you compare that to the average skill, that is absurdly high. Even when you account for converting it into an actual milestone level. Because that's over like milestone 5. When you compare it to a different skill, you have that happen as early as milestone 3. Yet at technically milestone 5 combat, if you were to scale for it, is just then getting a disparity that other skills have at milestone 3. It's actually crazy how deep you gotta go into combat before passives start getting even slightly better than actively training. Because yeah, it's milestone 28 to get the same equivalents that other skills do by like level 3. And even then, the percent's not that big a difference. Compared to level 3 as a total percent, it's almost like Milestone 30. It's basically what Milestone 3 is like for every other skill when it comes to disparity between active and passive. It doesn't start getting really good until, I'm not sure, like 30-something-ish? Yeah, like all the way near the end. But of course, there's going to be more levels there, at least 10 more in the future. So at that point, it'll probably be at least a 2 times disparity. Compared to the average skill, where it's like 3 times disparity, this is barely anything at the moment. 39 only having a, not even 2x. But in the current state of the game, it is one of the most beneficial skills to train actively, rather than passive. The entirety of combat right now. The final 10 levels, when Stonewall Hill comes in, might be a little bit different. Where passiving starts to get, you know, a little bit better. But at least with the current scaling, active combat benefits way more than passive combat. But the main caveat being, if you're using a bunch of wealth potions, you do gain a lot of money from passive combat. The best chapters for that right now are 1 and 2 because they don't have any of those like weird extra material that take away from your money gain. It's one of the reasons why we left so much room left in chapter 2. Everything there is just pure profit. Which I wish I had one of those tier thingies. I really wish I would have put 1 point into Forger. I mean, into Hope Forest. Because I can't even go check the passives either to see which one is the best money. Because every passive in that chapter should have a different money distribution. Let's see, those are all passives for chapter 1. Do we get any passives for chapter 2 here? No, those are also for level 1. That's so weird. The first 2 are all for chapter 1. That's so weird. Yeah, I can't even see any passives for chapter 2. I really should have put my 1 point in there. That is like the only regret I have with our level distribution, is I can't really check anything with chapter 2. Because I put my 1 point into chapter 1 rather than chapter 2. Really should have been chapter 2. There's a lot of data I can't check since the wiki's not updated. Related to the chapter 2 enemies that we're going to be spending forever on. Because what I wanted to go do right now was seeing what the best things to passive are in chapter 2, but I can't. Because I can't see a single one of them because we don't have a single milestone into it. Nor do my alt accounts. So I have literally no way to check since the wiki doesn't have the info. And it'll be a while before I can allocate a point towards it. And if I do allocate a point towards it, that's like 50 hours of combat we've got to go do. Before I can move to an actual area I want to go do that isn't that area. Just so I can go check that area. It's like a week-long grind. Just to check what Hope Forest's distribution is for combat. I do have to do that at some point, though. Because it could be months before the wiki's updated. At the current rate it's going. Not sure how many people are working on it, but they got a lot of work to go. And by the time they catch up on Milestone update, there's going to be another update that will just change everything again. Like dungeons or something. Because I'm pretty sure there's less than like a single-digit number of people working on the wiki right now. Or if I had to guess how many people are working on the old-school RuneScape wiki, it's probably like a triple-digit number, if not a quad. Like, it is so many. Like, there's more people probably working on that wiki than the entire player base of Brighter Shores. Based on potion math, we are 10 potions away from checking the monument. 1 11% and 9 5%. And then we should have a good idea where we're at. We'll still be a little bit short by then, but it'll be a good time to go check exactly how short we are. And one stretch goal we will do if we do finish Monument. I gotta get at least level 44 Forager today. I think we'll already get it, but if we don't, we gotta go get that level. Just to save some money with the +1 boost rather than +2. It'd be great if we had enough time to get the other level, but I don't think I will. Way later tonight, I probably could before I go to bed, but not anytime in the next like several hours. So we will need some amount of +1s if nothing else. Alright, 9 potion to go. Because we should only need one more double, I think. I don't think we're going to have enough knowledge to do a double-double. For the level, we'll probably need it. But for monument pieces, we probably won't. I'll find out in a moment. And then tomorrow should be a full-time stream as far as how long we'll go for it. Because tomorrow's stream does not end until we reach Milestone 8. Though, based on our current leveling, it's showing it take like 4 hours. And then we might still keep grinding just to get the billion pondweed we need. Honestly, there's a non-zero chance Sunday will literally just be pondweed and bell plant only. I really want to go crazy on the enraged potions there. Is the enraged potions that I get at tier 8 are going to compose 80% of my total enrage, if not more. Like 80 to 90% of all enrages we ever get will be those. As they're the best rage potion in the entire game at the moment. And I plan to use that feature so much. Alright, next trip I think we can still get away with a 5% there. Might over-encumber like ever so slightly. That or maybe we just go drink a double 11%. We were saying the other day we'll probably start using them like every single knowledge point instead. We don't have enough today to go do that. We just have to make some off stream to make sure we have enough for tomorrow and for the rest of the weekend. But yeah, we need to start checking the 11% a bit more often. That is going to ruin our potion math a little though. As that means we'll be at 36.5% rather than 35. Yeah, we're gonna do it. I just don't want to waste any knowledge here. Hey, some things on this route are giving slightly higher knowledge rate per item. Oh, nice. We're starting to get over 500 XP per knowledge point, though, if nothing else. Only problem is the amount of total XP keeps moving, too, so... Even though that number's going up, it's not going up enough. I know, the misclick. Don't do that. I did it again. Why are these jade pieces being so weird? I guess such a weird shaped hitbox. It's like a diagonal line. That's a really weird hitbox. Like, at least the starfish's weird hitbox is consistent. Because it's always the same size, shape. Like, obviously it's always star-shaped. Because that's how starfish work. Well, it's always a consistent shape. But some of these stone pieces have had such weird, jagged shapes. And they're not all oriented the same way either. Like, this one's diagonal to the right, and this one's diagonal to the left. They're not even consistent between each other. Like, obviously it's the same object, it's just the angle of it's different, but because of its shape, it makes the hitbox a lot weirder. As we're all facing a different direction. As well as some of them being inverted. Like, these two are inverted of each other, even though they're the same direction. They're inverted as far as where the pieces are. In the other room, they're inverted as far as direction. Like, completely. Oh, I see a knowledge point to go use. We'll use in a second. Oh, there's Lady Dora. She's been around a lot during this grind. Actually pretty comparable in level range. She's like 100 levels above us. Which means we've actually been catching up. Because at one point she was over 100 levels above us. Which means since we've been back, we've been slowly gaining more levels than her. At least with how much we've been playing lately. That's gonna change soon though when we don't play as much once we finish Monument. Though I probably won't be going really combat heavy AFK after that. Problem with that is the amount of knowledge you get per hour is awful. We're gonna get like 1 knowledge point per hour. It's pretty much the worst active, well I guess it's not really like fully active. But relative to active play, like things that you can get knowledge points for, it is the worst knowledge rate in the entire game doing AFK combat. It's about 1 knowledge point per hour, whereas everything else is like bare minimum 3 points an hour. Like the worst activities in the entire game are 3 points an hour. But AFK combat is 1 point an hour. But it is 9 minutes AFK once we get those potions. Currently we could do an 8-minute AFK. Or sorry, 7-minute I mean. But eventually we can make 8, then the really good 9s that we're getting a lot of. And 10s are a little bit iffy in the current state of the game, but you can still use them of course. Just gotta be careful not to over AFK and lose some loot. But as long as you grab the loot from the first thing you kill, 10 minutes are fine. You just gotta do them slightly less AFK for the initially. And always make sure you grab the first loot of what you kill. As long as you do that, you're never gonna lose loot from a 10-minute. Otherwise you can. Right, half a level to go. Our main goal is to drink, I guess, like 7-ish more? 5%? And then after that, we check the monument, as we should be pretty close to our goal. A little bit short, but pretty close. And it only took us a little over an hour. So making pretty good time on it. Main thing is to see how much it's going to take to do the next monument. That's the main bit of info that we're going to get today. As it'll give us a really good idea of how bad 8 and 9 are going to be. The answer is very, but we'll find out soon. I know it's going to be rough. I just haven't fully phased yet exactly how rough it's going to be. Because we're, what, 18 days in right now? The final 2 skills, or, you know, the final 2 sets. The first set of tier 8 might take literally a week. And tier 9 might legitimately take us 2 weeks. Just for tier 9. And we'll have to wait and see. It also has to do with how I'm going to be doing my routing as well. As tier 9, there's very specific resources we want to pick up a little bit more, most likely. But I might just default to the really good loop that we were doing earlier. Because it gives us enough good resources and then we can just fill the holes later. It's just really expensive to fill the holes for tier 9. Everything we don't gather, assuming it's even buyable from the shop, which means we have to go for like rack and nettle to be even. But as far as tier 9 is concerned, if we were to buy the secondary ingredient when we already have 1, the average price is like 13 silver for an object. That is not cheap. It starts to add up really quick. I do like that monument pieces are doable in a single session, though. Because I'm pretty sure in the previous day in the game, you could not even finish a whole tier in 1 session. But now you can. Like, even at tier 9, even though it would take a while, we can finish both of tier 9s most likely in one session. Not both of them together, but, you know, each individual one we could do in one session. It would take the entire stream, but we would be able to do it in one session. Because even if it told us to do, oh no, 2,000 something. We could do 2,000 something in one session. For Stone or for Jade. It'd be literally the only thing we do all day. But we could do it in one session. Whereas before, the numbers you needed were so crazy that you never could. Alright, 6 more 5%, and we'll go check the monument. I was gonna say, why is my number so weird? I didn't grab the other 2 starfish yet. That would be important. Also, what's the XP disparity on these? Because these are 8 levels lower, and they're giving 14,402. What are we getting for a limpet? Because if I'm not mistaken, it's actually lower than 14,402, oddly enough. We must not have a good XP distribution. Yeah, 14,402 is what it's competing with. No, it is higher. Barely. They're about the same number. Starfish compared to limpet. And the reason it's showing higher right now, of course, is the 5% potion. But yeah, it is a couple hundred higher, but it's not really like anything crazy higher. Like, it's not a completely useless amount, but it's a pretty small difference. But after this, we just need 5 more laps, and then after that, we'll go check the monument then. Bring in all of our pieces, get our over 1 gold worth of gold. Because we should get that from turning on all the jade pieces. And see how many more we need from there, if any. Should need some more, like a few inventories. Unless this is enough to get them all, in which case we're good to go. So much so, I kind of want to drink 1 more 5% and check just in case my math is off. Because I'd rather check slightly too early than too late. So you know what, after this inventory, we're gonna do a target 24. Where all we do is grab Jade. And then after the target 24, I'm just gonna walk to the monument then. And see where we're at. So I'll do that for my next inventory. We'll do a target 24, grab only 24 Jade. Turn it on the monument and see how many we have to go put in. Put them all in and see how many we need from there. And then we'll just do the math on how many 16 routes we have to go do. Okay, this next route will just be a target 24 then. And then we'll go check to see where we're at. Because I'm just assuming it was 500. It could have been a different number. Based on how much we have right now, we should have 300 something after we do a 24. Like mid-ish to high 300 something? Let's go to target 24. I'll use just 5% just to guess a nice number. Alright, we're grabbing you. Only problem with this is I believe we do have to wait for the Jade spawn. We don't have to wait that long though. We're grabbing only Jade does have some wait time. It's one of the other reasons why we grab everything. We grab a bit more than we should if we want to get right on spawn, but we grab it because it's good XP. And because we need the potions later. But the only problem with Jade only and why we haven't been doing that is, yeah, there is downtime where you're doing literally nothing. Which is never ideal. Especially in a skill that always has stuff to grab. Some skills, there's not much you can do about that, like mining. For a lot of them. That Forger is definitely one of those where you never really want to be idling. There's almost always something you can be doing for value. Even the racks over there have chests that you can grab. There's always something you do for value. Unlike a lot of other skills where you're kind of forced to just have to wait these several seconds. With mining probably being the main offender of that. Or almost no mining loop has anything you do in between the wait time. Whereas Forager has, you know, Forager, combat, fishing. There's always something you could be touching for XP. This is how I do it on the alt accounts, though. Just because the only thing I care about them doing is getting their monument pieces so they can go back to AFK. I do end up doing the 8 rush monument piece. I also AFK the 4 stones just so they don't have to go into the combat room. I click every hogberry and stone in the room. Keep doing that until we fill up on hogberries. Drop all the hogberries, then just grab all the stones until they're full and then bank. And then repeat. That's how I get all their stone pieces. It takes twice as long, but it's very AFK. Alright, so we'll grab these 4, grab the other 4, bring it to Monument, go check how many we have, and see what the damage is. We should need about 200-ish more after this. Give or take a little. Because we should have 300 something. King Skilla. I saw that name too. I always thought it was a Skrillex reference for a second. But the way that he spelled it. Alright, let's start turning in. Oh, turn in time. Also, if we do need to use a +2 today, I'm just going to use a +2. I'll take the hit if we have to. It's only a small amount of silver. We can live. We only have like 300 something gold left. I think we'll be fine for a while. Honestly, for almost every grind currently in the game, that's not like infinite gold pretty much. Unless we really start going way too spendy on some stuff. But it should be enough for... Okay, we need a 530. Okay. We might be a little bit short than expected. Because I believe I have low 300. Let's see how much do we have in here. Okay, I have a little bit more than I thought. We actually had a little over 400. But the number we needed was a little higher than I thought. Because we need 530, not 500. 500 was how many we needed for stone. 530 was how many we needed for jade. But we did have more than I thought, though. We're turning in 404 right now. Where I thought we only had, like, mid 300 something. How much money are we making from this as well? We have to turn in 530. How much are each turning in for? We gotta divide whatever number this says by 24. Calculator, go. Get ready, calculator. Alright, we have, 88, you could basically say 89. So we're getting 89 per thing, 89 divided by 24. We are making 3.7 and some decimal, but since we did it weirdly, we could do it that way. 3.7. We were making 3.7 silver each, so now we take this number and times it by 3.7, times that by 530. We are making a little under 2 gold, basically 2 gold from turning all these in. That's not too bad. And it would have taken us about an hour and a half to get them all. So it's a little over a gold an hour. Which isn't great, but smart enough, eh? It's a little over 1 gold per hour when doing the first turn in. And it's at tier 7, that's not even tier 8 or 9 yet. Tier 9 should probably reach close to 2 gold an hour for the duration that you do Monument. Which isn't crazy high, but it's better than nothing. Oh, so this should put a bunch of jade pieces on the railing here. We should get some nice jade trim or something on it. Yeah, that was the most recent upgrade we got for stone, was the railing here. Which means the next upgrade is probably the railing at the top. And the final upgrade is likely the braziers that you gotta light at the end. So 7 was bottom rail, 8 was top rail, and then 9 should be torches for them all. Or whatever you'd call those. Burners. Whatever those like circular burners are called. I feel like they have a proper name. Brazier? I want to say brazier. That sounds correct for some reason. But it has like a brazier at each of the corners. Yeah, I almost got them all in, halfway there. That's the only problem with the end of this. It's going to take so long at stage 9. I think we might legitimately have to walk back and forth here for half an hour when we reach stage 9. We'll make multiple gold pieces during that half an hour. But I'm pretty sure at stage 9 it'll take a half an hour of just walking back and forth because there's no quicker way of doing this. Unfortunately. Gotta bring it to her 24 at a time. Oh yeah, that reminds me. That's one thing that happened in Old School RuneScape update I forgot to do this week. You gotta turn like 10,000 worth of meat to some guy to make an infinite teleport for one of the hunter whistles. And I think I only have like 2,100 bank, so I need to do like 8,000 more. I'm not gonna bother doing that right now because there's no way to AFK it. Actually, I'm not even AFKing in the background for it this time around. I just figured the stream would be short enough. That wouldn't even bother. Because I currently don't have him at a good AFK location. Unlike Brighter Shores, where pretty much everywhere is a good low AFK location. Since all you gotta do is get to your passive. Which never takes longer than like a minute. To get to a 24-hour AFK, technically. Alright, that should be almost all the pieces we have now, and then we just gotta do several more laps. I didn't do the math yet on how many laps we need. What I gotta do is figure out what our final number is and then divide that by 16. Also, how's this going so aligned when I only turned in 1 earlier? I feel like we should have like 1 spear random shard, but it's actually kind of going really evenly. Alright, we'll see what the final number is. I'll go put the 530 in right now so we know what we need to minus. So 530 minus whatever this final number is. And then divide that by 16 rounded up, and that's how many more laps we gotta go do. As we'll go back to the 16 method, of course. But let's see how many laps that is. We take this number and subtract it from the other number, which is 408. That means we got 122. We divide that by 16 and round it up. We gotta do 8 more laps. Alright, 8 more laps! And then after 8 more laps, we will have Jade Monument completed for tier 7. And tomorrow's grind is get to tier 8. And then everything beyond that is a nightmare because we're gonna need like 1.5 billion XP. We'll worry about that when we get there. The main reveal for today is going to be how many pieces do we need for the next tier? Because for stone at this tier, we needed 500. And then for jade at this tier, we needed 530. And if it kept scaling like every other level has so far, we're going to need like maybe 600 at most. But you know that number is going to be way higher than 600. There's going to be almost 1,000. I'd be very surprised if it's under 800. Based on the way it's been scaling, it should only be a 560 or 600 at highest. But based on how much longer tier 8 and tier 9 probably take, there's no way it's under 800. I'd be very surprised if it's any number under 800. I'm hoping it is. But I'd be very, very, very surprised if it's any number under 800. What's our potion math, by the way? Potion math says I need to do 7 more laps after this one. Which means 433. So we're looking for double 3s. At double 3, 5%, we are ready to return to the monument. And then we would have tier 7 completed. And then we're in the final stretch, only 2 tiers to go. Unfortunately, those 2 tiers take forever. But we shall do them. Because at this point, our schedule for the next several days for Brighter Shores then would be what? Tomorrow is Saturday, and we'll be doing tier 8. Sunday is probably going to be a weird mix of combat into getting all the stuff we need. So a lot of pondweed, a lot of bell plant, stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of combat into wall plant, we'll see. If we do that, just a little bit of that. But it's going to probably be a lot of pondweed in the other thing. Monday we have update day, though it is smaller update day, but we will just mess with whatever the updates are probably. Bit of a smaller stream where we just do whatever the updates are. Unless some of them are related to the Forge, or we'll have to see. But Monday's small update day. That following Tuesday, we would hopefully have done by then enough pondweed and blow plant to be able to start doing the beach at level 15. And then we're basically stuck there for 3 days from Tuesday or Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I believe Slay the Spire 2 comes out. So for those 4 days, we'd be doing that while passiving something in the middle of Tier 8. Ideally, by then, that means by the end of Wednesday stream, I need to get to bare minimum. We need to no passive potion, be able to do ammonites. Yeah, anemone, I mean. So we need level 25 by the end of Wednesday stream. I think that's very doable. That way we could passive the anemone and sprays during Slay the Spire 2. And then by the time we come back, we'll be able to go do the better seashell and everything. As we'll easily have 32 by then. But 100%, we cannot end Wednesday's stream without 25, without tier 8 level 25. Is 100% required. We can go higher than that if we want. But we cannot be lower than that. bare minimum, we have to have 25 by the end of Wednesday. That way we can passive the 2 passive potions up. So we're getting really good material. And that would also leave us at a really good level range. It also means that we need to go do Stone Monument before then as well. Which means probably Wednesday stream or Tuesday stream would be Stone then. Probably Wednesday. As the goal of Wednesday stream would probably be first thing we do is Stone Monument and then try to push to level 30. But then again, we only need level 25, so never mind, you get them both at the same time. Because I forgot, Monument Stone Piece and the really good Anemone AFK is at the same time. And of course, prior to that, we would just be at the beach. Alright, 6 more 5%, 6 more laps, and we should be there. So close, yet so far. So I feel the need to sneeze, but can't sneeze. There we go. Sorry. Excuse me. It's always such an annoying feeling. Feeling the need to sneeze, but not be able to sneeze. Also, we're getting really close to that level. I kind of want to push for it, even if we don't make it here. We'd have to get 2 more knowledge points if we want to do that. Only problem is we're only going to get 1 more from what we're doing right now. So I might have to do a little bit extra grind. It doesn't save that much, but we might save as much as like 100 silver if I get 1 more level. Which for how short that 1 level will take, we might as well go do. 100 silver is not a lot, but you know. We also don't have to do a lot to save that 100 silver. Contendo's over here too. I wonder if he's still doing fishing bounties. I think at this point we've given up fishing bounties. We gave it a solid like 4 days where we mess around with them. But the overall verdict is I don't think any bounties are going to be worth it on gathering skills. Production skills, yes. Like cooking, alchemy, you know, construction, or I guess carpenter, you know, stuff like that. Obviously the smithing and stonemason bounties. Leatherworker bounties whenever they come out. Obviously skills that are mostly bounty based as well, like merchant and detective, obviously. But I don't think it's going to be worth it on gathering skills. Because you have to give up half your supplies for XP and gold that you don't really need. Because the main useful thing about most gathering skills are the actual supplies, not the money you make from the supplies. And you're getting half as much if you're doing the bounties. As half of them are just turn-in tasks that you don't even get to keep it on. Whereas production skills, you just save pure money. So that seems like it's going to be a trend going forward with a lot of the bounties. Where gathering bounties are really bad, but every production bounty is really good, especially if it's a skill that's really bad to do. Like stonemason and smithing. Luckily, those are the next 2 to get bounties. 2 Mondays from now is smithing, and 4 Mondays from now is stonemason. Unfortunately, bone right's not going to get there, but you could always use passive bone right. You can't really do that as conveniently with smithing or stonemason. So those bounties are going to be a lot more important for smithing and stonemason. Not that you wouldn't do them for bone right, but they're not nearly as important for bone right. One nice thing about our forager grind, though, if they oh, I forgot to grab this thing. If they hypothetically do bone right bounties by, I don't know, let's say late April, or by early May, or at any point eventually, but whenever they do finally get them in, we will have all the bones for it. I might not have like an amazing surplus, and I won't have the carpentry supplies, but we will have all the bones from forager. We'll be getting them at tier 8 for right now, and then tier 9 for eventually. So we're already going to have all the bones banked we need for those. Kind of like how the mining will have all the ores mostly banked for the most part. But forager's going to make it so we have all of the bones banked, which is nice. Not like a huge amount, because bones aren't like a super mega priority. It's one of the main things that's going to be a little bit different about our tier 9 routing. Tier 9 is going to route a lot more bones than we have been over alchemy supplies. Because that's like the one tier where the bones are going to really matter. Both because of our level, but also because of how weapon crafting works. Because they added the feature a couple months ago, where when you infuse stuff together, you can downgrade it. Before, you were stuck at whatever the level was. So higher grade material were kind of useless in that regard. But now, you can use all higher tier material and just downgrade it like crazy. And it works. Before, if you made, let's say, like 3 level 1000 weapons, the only thing it would create is a 1000 weapon. You would not be able to downgrade it. It would simply just be a level 1000, as it would average the 3 numbers. But now, if you made 3 level 1000 weapons, you can downgrade it to whatever you want. You can downgrade to 500, you can downgrade to 300. You can downgrade to level 1 if you wanted to. Or I think you can go that far. I'm pretty sure you can. I haven't tried using the infusionist to go that far down, but I assume you could. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to. But you can kind of choose what number you get. Obviously, you can't choose upwards. Like, if you do 3 1000s, obviously you can't do, like, a 1100 or something. But you can do it to any number below it. But I added that feature back in, I think, November? It was just, like, a small thing in one of the weekly updates. But it was a pretty big change. As no longer do you need to do the exact math when crafting a bunch of stuff. It also makes it so spare material is a lot better for upgrading things. As you can just use a bunch of knick-knack supplies that you have at 3-star to get to whatever level you want, rather than need to calculate out the exact number of everything. It also makes it so you can use the highest possible thing. Like, for example, I could make in a tier 8 bone right weapon, a tier 6 smithing, and a tier 7 stonemason, and not need to worry about the fact that that's going to make only a tier 7. Because before, in the previous state of the game, if you combine these 3 together, it would make a tier 7 weapon. But now, you know, you could downgrade that to tier 3, tier 2, tier 1, tier whatever. Whereas before, it would have been locked at, you know, some level of tier 7, whatever that number would come out to be. It's really nice. It's a lot more flexible now. Alright, we gotta use 4 more potions. We'll use 5% for them. We should be fine. I don't think we're gonna over-encumber our knowledge. I say before we over-encumber our knowledge. Maybe I will use 11% here. That means this number is going to go to 434, not 433. I'll use 1 here just to make sure we don't over-encumber again. And if nothing else, I'll save that last point so we can actually unlock the passive later. Because I do need to keep 1 spear point today for, which I almost forgot about. Because I do still need to unlock the next AFK activity. We don't actually have it unlocked. So I'll save the final point that we're going to get this stream for when we actually get the level. As I still need to go unlock the activity. A +1 AFK potion will do that for us, luckily. As it also gives you +1 knowledge point. However, we're going to be needing that in order to, you know, we're still going to need the point eventually. So I might as well do it now. So this next knowledge point will go to that, and then I'll scrap together the last of our level if we don't already reach it here. As I should only take like a lap or 2 of the really good XP route once we go put in all the Jades. Probably 2 laps at max. Alright, so at this point, 1 more knowledge point, 1 more level, and 3 more laps. As soon as that says 434. If our potion math was correct. That should be a completed Jade monument. We'll need like a handful of spears. Like 16 spear, whatever it comes out to. Oh, no, it should be less than 16. But we should have like 12 spears or something. Because 16 was the number we divided by, so it should be less than 16. Should be like 8 or 12 spears. So how much more XP do we need at this point? Like 1 million? A little less than 1 million. Perfect. Yeah, 2 laps of the other thing will 100% get it. If this doesn't already get us there. I'm actually not sure how much XP this lap is giving. If I had to guesstimate, it should be around 250,000-ish. Which is probably a little bit more than that. Almost 300-ish. So we're just going to reach it now then. Because we still got to do 3 more laps. If we're gaining 300-ish, that's all the XP we need. As 900,000 gets us there. And some. Nice. Alright, this might be full, like, perfect alignment. We might get our knowledge point, our level, and our Jade pieces done at the exact same time. That is exceedingly convenient. I think we might actually get triple alignment, which would be crazy if so. Like, every last objective we want to get done might get done at the exact same time. We're pretty close to it. Might have to grab, like, a few more of something just to push it over. But all 3 are pretty much perfectly aligning. I think the one thing that will be shortest on is knowledge points. I think 3 inventories get us to 100%. We'll be at, like, 80-something. But the level should be there, and the Jade should be there. And I'll just have to do 1 inventory to go get the rest of our knowledge. Better go check out cooking bounties, maybe. Those 2 levels aren't going to 2-level themselves. This is one of the side goals we still want to do while getting the Forager grind completed. We still need 2 chef levels. We did the alchemy already. We need at least, like, 50 more combat levels. Actually, more so 40. We need 40 more combat levels. And we need 6 more merchant levels. Which, with how much merchant's been getting buffed, it should take like 5 seconds to get that many levels. No, but realistically, shouldn't take more than 6 hours. And that's when dumping all the knowledge onto anything else. Might even be quicker than that. Because I haven't really, like, farmed bounties or merchant ever since the rarity change. We've done it some, but I've never done it for, like, hours on end since the change. So there's a good chance at our level range we can actually get more than a level an hour. Might even be able to get 2 levels an hour. And that's when dumping all of our knowledge onto not merchant as well. Which most likely would be putting onto smithing or stonemason or leatherworker. As leatherworker's still really slow. And now it doesn't make you infinite money. It's both slower and not infinite money anymore. Actually, I shouldn't say it's slower though. It might actually be a little bit quicker just because you keep getting access to newer hides quicker. So it's slightly quicker, but it makes like 0 money. It's still very slow, though. Compared to any other skill in the chapter, it is easily the slowest skill in Chapter 4 still. Though it isn't as... I don't believe it's as slow as it was before the Milestone update. Because you get a new hide like every few levels now. Whereas at this level range before, you'd go like 20, 30 levels before you got a new hide. But now you're getting one easily in under 10 every time. So you get better XP rate a lot more frequently. But it's a lot smaller of a jump when you do get a better XP rate, so is the only problem though. Like you don't get like the mega jumps that you did before in Leather Maker. It's a lot more gradual. But that should be a little bit quicker. Because you're still getting about the same amount of buffs, you're just getting it quicker. Like 3 hides is about the same XP jump as what 1 hide would have been before. But in between everything, you're getting those slightly extra. So it should be slightly quicker, not by much. If I had to guess, Leatherworker's probably like 5% quicker now. Ever since Milestones. Like 5 or 10%. I haven't actually done it enough to know, though. But if I had to guess, it's like 5 or 10% quicker, roughly. Because you're still probably getting a roughly the same amount of XP curve, it's just you're getting it more frequently. Rather than having a giant jump where you have to do the bad XP, but then eventually get the better XP one. Alright, what do we have? One more lap after this and we should be good to go. We'll have our level, we should have all the Jade pieces. And the only thing I won't have is the last little bit of knowledge, but maybe we'll just check our cooking bounties real quick and get them done. Because I gotta go that way anyways to go head over to scrap metal. So similar to before we ended the stream, we'll just do the same thing again. Get our cooking bounties, that'll be the last little bit of knowledge we need. And I gotta be over there anyways because we gotta go turn in on scrap metal AFK. I also gotta go over there anyways because I gotta go get the tier 1 AFK potion. And maybe go bank some of those for future use as well, like 100 of them. For whenever we need them, just so we already have them banked, so we don't have to go all the way over there again. Because while we do need to go to chapter 1 right now for our AFK, we're not going to need to do that in the future. So to have some already banked so we don't have to come all the way back to chapter 1 would be nice. Should probably grab some more of the 2 potions as well. Just so we really don't ever have to come back for them for a bit. Obviously it doesn't affect us too much now since we're doing only chapter 1 stuff. But it'll save almost like a solid minute in the future compared to having to come back to this chapter. If our AFK was in like chapter 3 or something. Which where a lot of our AFKs are going to be, by the way, going in the near future. Particularly smithing and stonemason. Even with the bounties, we're still going to obviously AFK them where applicable. That's why we've been making sure to get the scrap metal, which of course goes to smithing. We've been getting a bunch of tier 7 scrap metal, which of course goes to tier 7 smithing, right at the end there. You end up using it for 9 levels. We're not going to have enough material to do it for 9 levels, but you know. Well, some amount that we could do there. At least 2 or 3 levels, if nothing else. There's no way we're going to have enough material to do it for 9 levels, though. Mostly because you only ever have to do it for 5 levels for Forager. If for whatever reason it's set up as 9 levels for Smithing. Which means it's literally impossible for you to ever have enough. Plus, I don't even think the 2 times duration even lasts long enough on that AFK. Like, if you used up the entire 2 times duration of the AFK and started at this level, I don't even think that would be enough to get 9 levels. You'd get close to like 4 or 5 levels before the 2 times would run up. It's not even possible to get the full 9. You'd have to do some actual smithing or use knowledge points. It's one of the weird things that stonemason and smithing still has, even after the update. There's just a lot of holes that don't get fixed unless you manually train. There's always been holes in it. And there still is. Like, the holes are smaller now ever since Milestones, but they didn't actually fix the holes. They just made them smaller. They're now mini holes. A lot of mini holes. Instead of just a smaller amount of big holes. And hey, we actually did get our knowledge point. Wow, everything aligned perfectly. That's actually crazy. We got our level. We got our knowledge points that we're going to need. And we got all of the Jades. Every single thing that needed to align at the same time did. It's like we planned for it. Be all 3 metrics we needed to align, just perfectly aligned. So we're about to get the last one right here with the knowledge point. Then we'll go bank all of this, and yeah, let's go finish the monument. They should be all with like 12 spares or so. Like 8 to 12 spares. And we'll make sure not to skip the cutscene. All I should be doing is trimming our building. Free armor trimming. Or building trimming. But yeah, it should be Jade trimming our balcony, I think. Or whatever you call that, the guardrail. And then I'll go buy a bunch of level 1 AFK potions. And I'll head straight back to scrap metal. And then tomorrow's goal is we do not click end stream button until we're tier 8. Might even keep going just to grab some pondweed, but bare minimum tomorrow. Gotta get tier 8. But let's go finish out this monument. And then we only have 2 tiers to go! We're so close, yet so far. The main thing I'm scared about right now is what numbers is going to say after. Because we just went from 500 to 530. So you would think, oh, it's going to move to 560 next. Or maybe like 600 at most. No. I wish. Who knows? Maybe it will. But if I had to guess, I'd be surprised if this number says under 800. Logically, it should say 560 or 600. But I'm pretty sure tier 8 and 9 scale like mega high. Something we haven't really gotten to experience too much yet in the new format. But the new 200 wall is 405, 450. Like basically 400 plus is the new 200. We are going to see a very big spike. Alright, 2 more inventories after this one, and that should be all of them. Unless we need that partial one that's in there. Might need the partial. I want to make sure we don't overshoot here. Let's see, 24. Yeah, we're going to need 3 inventories. The last one only needs like 8. Oh, wait, do I have enough? Wait, do I have exact number? Wait, do we have literally exact number? That's kind of funny. I don't think my math made it so it was exact number. How did that happen? Or am I overshooting by like 2? Because I had a decimal left over. Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm gonna have like 4 to 6 pieces remaining. So we are still gonna have some remaining. That makes sense because there was a decimal. But yeah, barely. Yeah, we only had 6 spares. Not bad. How many did we have last time when we were doing this? Because I always just do 1 extra inventory. Yeah, we had 17 spares last time. This time we only have 2. Or 6, I mean. Alright, moment of truth. So this should trim our rails. But what is the number after? 580! Really? Only 580? Oh, never mind. We got dragons up there. It didn't trim my things. Ooh, cool. Nice. Can I see that from up here? I need to go update the thumbnail now. Ooh, we got some dragons on our thing. Bunch of dragon heads on the side. That is not what I expected that to do. We got some Jade dragons around our tower now. I might need to go update the thumbnail later. With our new dragon heads that we got down there. But only 2 tiers to go. Tier 8 and tier 9. We'll get there eventually. But yeah, I am really surprised. What? Only 580? That means the final tier probably needs less than 1,000. Okay, I'm not as scared of tier 8 anymore. But we'll find out as we start doing it. Alright, let's go head to our AFK method. Hope Port Garrison. Let's go buy our potions. I'm going to grab some spears here too. Because I have a feeling I'll be needing a lot of these potions in the future. And I highly doubt they're going to lower the price anytime soon. So let me just get them now. I'm going to buy like a couple hundred 1 minute or tier 1 and tier 2 of these potions. As I will be using these a lot just to do passives earlier than we otherwise would be. These things are stronger than 10% potions in most situations. And it costs less than like a 6%. So they're pretty much always worth using where applicable. And yeah, these are cheap enough, might as well. Give me a couple. Lost a couple gold, but we got it, spares. And give me a couple of the other ones. This is to get it back up. We'll use this one tonight. The other one we'll store away. But this is definitely worth it. Like if we go and check the price of like an XP pot. These boost pots were, like the smaller one is only 15. You cannot even get a 5%, I don't even think, for cheaper than that. Let's see. That one's 21. That one's 20. That one's 24. That one's 18. Why is Chronopolis' one so cheap? But this gives way more. Like, if we go check the XP difference between our current passive and the new one. Like, let's say where we're doing Beetle, for example, which we haven't even touched yet. It's 330,000. And we check Scrap Metal. Is 356,000. So what percent is that? How do you figure that out? What's the math on that? You would just divide them, right? I think you just divide and that gives the percent. Let me see what the percent difference is here. Isn't that right? I think that is. We'll find out in a second. I think you just divide this. 3 threes, divide that by the other number. Oops, I forgot a 0 somewhere. Too many threes, too many of the same number. 330030. Divide that by the other number. And that should be the percent difference, right? Let's see. 356706. Okay, it's the equivalence of using a... What is that? A 1%? Why is this number so weird? Did I just do the other way around? Oh, I gotta do the other number. It's basically an 8%. It's like if you use a 7.5% XP potion. So the difference between these two is a 7.5% XP potion. Do you know what 7.5% is more than? 5%! So it is stronger to do a passive earlier, especially if it's a good one that you actually need the material from. It's both stronger and cheaper, especially if you're only using the +1, which we are tonight. But even if you had to use a +2, you're getting a 7.5% instead of a 5%. And when you compare some of the cost of the 5% tier, it's generally always worth it to just use the +2 or the +1. Definitely the +1 is always worth it if it's within your range. If you don't have the time to get that final level, like right now, which I don't. But yeah, in this particular instance, it is a 7.5% increase. And it's a way, way, way bigger increase if you do it from here. Because this goes up to a... that's the wrong one. That's active. Because then it goes up to... That's also wrong. It goes up to 519,000, which is about the equivalent of using a 30% potion. Which goes without saying is absurdly strong. That's only when you go from tier to tier, though. But if you use the +2 or +1 to get to your next tier, it is absurd value how good that is. Instead of being closer to like a 7.5, 8% potion, it's closer to like a 30-something% potion. So these boost potions are really good. The main reason they weren't that usable before is you needed at least a +4 for them to be good before because of how the knowledge system works. But now that every single skill only needs 1 knowledge point, even though I don't have it allocated yet, and normally before you wouldn't need a 4, we could just use a +1 and get access to it. Which is not something you could do in the previous state of the game before Milestones. It's actually a really nice thing that Milestones end up doing. As it made the benefit of +1 and +2 boost potions through the roof as far as how good they are now compared to before. Because before you needed +4s to be able to do this to any skill over 200. But now you can do every skill with only a +1 or +2 and they're really, really absurdly good value. Like more than 5%. And they allow you to do activities that are actually worthwhile like this that we need for smithing eventually. Whereas we don't need fishing bait at our current level would be really bad. So not only is this more XP than what we would otherwise be doing, but it's something we actually need. So instead of just fishing bait, we just sell to the shop, we get scrap metal that we actually get to convert with smithing once we get to, you know, the next tier of smithing eventually. Obviously, it'll be a while before we use that, but at some point we will. But anyways, guys, that'll wrap it up for now. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully on time. It is at around noon. Oh, this guy's asking about the thing. Let's see. Northeast of town square by the not the pond, what is it called? By the fountain. By the fountain. There we go. Hopefully finds the fishing shop. But anyways, guys, we'll be back hopefully on time tomorrow. I got a little bit busy today, but this weekend I should mostly be free, so tomorrow probably around noon Eastern Standard Time. Stream does not end until Forager level says 8. And, yeah, bare minimum tomorrow. Get to Milestone 8. That's the whole game plan. Anyways, guys, hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you guys soon. Bye, everyone. And thanks for watching. Oops, I forgot. I keep thinking that's the logout button. I keep thinking that's end stream button. Anyways, goodbye, everyone.